What's up, guys? GFD here, and this is the full method of how I completely transformed my mind and my body to become the best version of myself. Now, I went from a skinny kid, low confidence, not an insane amount going for him, to gaining 45 pounds of lean muscle, becoming the most optimal version of myself, and creating unbreakable confidence in the process. Now, if you're looking to have a similar transformation, you need to know that this method requires time and it requires discipline. This is a 40-minute long video. Grab a notebook, take some notes. There's a lot of sauce in here that you could really implement into your lifestyle. But if you're not able to sit down and watch this video, this program is probably not for you because it does require extreme discipline. So if you're ready, if you're willing to lock in and do what it takes to become the best version of yourself, sit down, enjoy, and you're going to learn a lot in this video. This is the exact method of how I went from skinny to gaining 45 pounds of lean muscle, developing washboard abs, and unlocking insane confidence in the process. Now, before I implemented this method, I was very skinny with little muscle at all. I was 125 pounds when I came into college. I never lifted really at all. And as a result, I was lacking confidence. I wasn't very proud of my body. I wasn't very proud of anything that I had accomplished. I felt scared meeting new people because I just wasn't sure if I was that interesting. I wasn't sure how to talk to people. I also had very low energy. I used to sleep through class all the time. It didn't matter if the alarm went off at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or 10 a.m. I remember I would always wake up and feel so tired because I'd always just be on my phone scrolling or watching something late at night, feeling horrible and very low energy throughout the day, not able to make it to class, knowing that I wasn't being the best version of myself. I was skinny. I was very uncertain about the man I wanted to become. But most of all, I knew I wasn't reaching my potential. I knew that there was so much more that I could do and that I was falling short of every single goal that I had. And you can see here I had a very average physique. I used to go out on the weekends all the time, drink a lot of beer. I'd wake up Saturday, Sunday morning, just not feeling good, waste the whole weekends recovering, and do it again every single weekend. I just was not being the best version of myself. Now, after I implemented this method, I gained 45 pounds of lean muscle mass, built a lean and aesthetic physique. You can see here the insane difference between my physique before and after I started implementing this method. I look insanely better here. I also had tons of energy and motivation. I began to optimize my circadian rhythm, letting me wake up at 6:30 a.m. every single morning, no alarm needed, ready to get a jump start in the day, ready to get done everything that I needed to get done. I had this insane burst of motivation that I had never had before in my entire life. I also had extreme confidence in every room I walked to. Because of the amount of time and effort I put into my physique and mindset, I was so proud of myself. I knew I was accomplished. I knew that in any conversation I could hold my own. And I knew that people would be impressed with my story as well. So I had extreme confidence and I actually began to seek out conversations with other people. Now, I understand what it's like to be on both sides. I have been the person up here who's skinny, who wasn't proud of their physique, who was nervous to meet new people. And I've been the person down here who's insane confidence, insane physique, and overall very energetic person. And that's exactly why I built this system. So you can do the same and have the same transformation that I did. Who is this for? If you're sick of the skinny physique you see in the mirror and know that you have more potential, this is for you. I used to look in the mirror all the time thinking I was average, thinking I was just super skinny, having no muscle, and this is always the way it was going to be because I was, the latest wrestler on my team. And if you want to walk around with extreme confidence and instant respect from others, this is also for you. If you put the time in to develop your physique and to sharpen your mind, you are instantly going to gain the respect from others and also develop extreme confidence in the process. If you're doing well in your career, achieving success, and looking to improve your physical health, this is for you. Now, I worked at a bank one summer, and I remember I was making money, I was doing good, but I was eating like horrible, and I was sleeping horrible. And as a result, I had no energy throughout the day, and I also felt horrible. So even if you're killing it in your job, you need to be putting money and time into your physical health. Health is the number one investment that you can make. If you're spending time in the gym, unsure if you're actually progressing, and with no idea how you should be eating, this is also for you. And that used to be me. I used to go to the gym with no idea what I was actually doing, just kind of guessing and seeing what workouts would actually help, but nothing was working. And I was also just eating really bad with no idea how to actually fuel my training. Overall, not a good recipe for success. And if you're looking for a long term, sustainable solution to transform your body, this is for you. Nothing happens overnight. This is going to take time, but it's going to be worth it in the long term. Who this is not for. If you're looking for a method to get shredded overnight, this is not for you. Anything worth doing takes time. This isn't a 1 week plan to get you in really good shape. No, this is a plan that's going to require discipline. It's going to require hard work, but in the end, you're going to come out a way better person, and you're going to be very proud of all the progress you've made. If you're looking for something to only follow during the week and completely let loose on the weekends, this is not for you. And I'm laughing because that used to be me. I used to do so good about eating healthy and training during the week, only to just drink a ton of beer on the weekends and eat late at night and sleep in. And really, this was hindering my process. I quickly learned that it is impossible to be the best version of yourself when you're only sticking to the plan during the week and just using the weekends as a built-in excuse. That's not how this works. If you don't care about eating quality food and are comfortable looking and feeling like trash, this isn't for you. This is about way more than just aesthetics. This is about trying to be the best version of yourself. And if you're not eating nutritious foods that are going to fuel your success, then you're not meant for this program. You need to be eating quality food. You need to be thinking about food as nutrients and fuel rather than calories. If you're looking for a short-term fix and aren't committed to building habits that will last you a lifetime, this isn't for you. Now, I don't want you guys to go through this program and watch this video and only, implement these habits for a week. I want these habits to last you a lifetime. I want you to understand that this is more than just a diet, more than just a method. This is a lifestyle that is truly going to transform your life. And if you care more about being comfortable than striving to be the best version of yourself, this is not for you. If you want to just be comfortable, take the easy way. There's plenty of methods, there's plenty of programs that you can do, and you're not going to have real results, but maybe you'll convince yourself that you're doing something right. But if you actually care about being the best version of yourself, you actually care about living up to your potential, you need to make the uncomfortable decision to really lock in and really just focus on what you need to do. Now, here's the truth about getting jacked and shredded. Getting shredded and eating whole foods to build muscle will support energy, hormone health, and quality of life. Whole foods, nutrient-dense foods, this is the best method to really optimize your physique. Now, eating these foods are pro-hormone. So, by eating whole foods, by eating things like beef, eggs, milk, this is going to increase your testosterone, which is going to make putting on muscle easier, shredding fat easier, and also just overall improve your quality of life, make you feel like more of a man. You don't have to eat chicken and rice too every single day. What you need to do is find nutrient-dense foods that you can just consistently eat and enjoy. I see it so often because I went through it myself. I thought the only way to be very lean and be muscular was just to focus on chicken and rice. And as a result, I did not enjoy anything I was eating. Whenever I was cutting weight for wrestling, I was just eating the most bland food that fit my calorie goal, but I didn't feel good and I was just having these intense cravings. I would even try to eat these low-calorie snacks. I would try protein bars, and it just left me with a very empty feeling. I was not being fulfilled, and as a result, I would binge eat on the weekends. Once my wrestling tournament was over, I'd go right to McDonald's or right to Five Guys to eat a bunch of junk food, feel really bad, and there were weekends I'd gain 15 pounds just because I was eating so bad. I was truly binge eating. And I know now that the best recipe to be lean year-round is just to find healthy foods that you genuinely enjoy, because that will make it so that you're not going to want to cheat on your diet. You also need to know that your life does not have to revolve around the gym. Like 3 to 4 workouts a week is all you need. People that think you need to work out 5 or 6 days a week are not understanding that your muscle growth happens when your muscles are recovering. So if you're constantly lifting weights, your muscles are never going to recover, and you're also never going to be at 100% capacity to lift heavier weights. You're always going to be a little bit sore from the workout before. Your life doesn't need to revolve around the gym. You just need to understand that the gym is something that should improve your quality of life. And don't worry, I'm not going to let that happen to you. Time is not the limiting factor that's preventing you from reaching your goal. With the right systems and enough discipline, you can achieve your dream physique. If you think that, lack of time or lack of energy is what's stopping you from making this change, it's not. It's in the lack of systems, because even if you don't have that much time, by following the right system, by following the right method, you can achieve your dream physique. You just have to be methodical about how you do it. And you don't need to be a robot and make the gym your entire life. All you need to do is optimize a system that suits your lifestyle. Build this around the life you currently have so that you can also build a dream physique while building out your dream life. And if you want to be that person, I will show you exactly how to get jacked and shredded without having to obsess about calories, without having to track all your macros, how to implement an enjoyable and sustainable diet that will work long term, how to develop a mindset that will translate to all areas of your life, helping you become the best version of yourself, and how to walk into any room with unbreakable confidence. Now, in case you don't know me, here's a brief backstory about how I got here. I've wrestled my entire life. Wrestling was always the number one thing since I was 9 years old, and I was very skinny as well. My freshman year of high school, I was 90 pounds soaking wet, and my freshman year of college, I was 125 pounds. I was always the smallest person on my team. I mean, you can see here, my arms are literal twigs. I think I could grab it and snap it in half right now. That's how skinny I was. And that was because I was always the smallest person. I was always cutting a lot of weight because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And because of this, I mean, sure, I had abs, but I literally had zero muscle. And not only that, I didn't feel good. So because of wrestling, I always had to diet a lot. Diet was a big part of my life, but I always felt horrible. I always thought the secret was just to eat bland foods that fit your calories, that fit your macros. But I was doing this while having the most intense cravings that would always make me cheat, as I told you. And during the week, I had no energy. So having to cut so much weight because I was eating so bad only led to poor performances. I was fed up with how I was wrestling because I knew I had so much more potential. I knew I wasn't wrestling or being the best version of myself. So something had to change. Like, I was sleeping through classes. I had no energy through the day, had no energy at practice. Something was wrong, and I had to implement a new plan. So I discovered the animal-based diet, and I started eating nutrient-dense foods, following biohacking principles, and everything changed. I mean, you can see the picture from this to this. My arms are about 3 times the size. I look like a brand new man. I mean, I put on 45 pounds of lean mass, completely transforming my physique and also my mindset in the process. I became a different person, not only physically, but mentally, and that's what I'm going to explain to you guys. But through this process, through this method that I developed, being jacked and shredded honestly became effortless. I had more energy and motivation than ever before. It was very easy to get done everything that I wanted to get done every single day because I felt like I had unlimited motivation. And this was a feeling that I'd never experienced before, and it was truly amazing. My confidence was also the highest it had ever been. When you go from looking like this to looking like this, I mean, you walk around with a different aura. I was so proud of everything that I'd accomplished. I was so proud and striving to be the man that I wanted to be that any single conversation I had, it just felt easy. And I genuinely started to enjoy talking to people and meeting new people because I had something I could talk about, and I felt like I could talk about personal development and my own journey to pretty much everybody that I knew. So the lean build standard is the system that I built through my own trial and error, from lifting weights, wrestling, doing intense dieting, and overall just experimenting with the best way to build an insane physique. And I'm going to break it down exactly for you for free, how I got from looking like this, a twig at 125 pounds, to looking like this, jacked, shredded, tan, happy, all at 170 pounds. So in the following steps, I'm going to outline the entire process, A to Z, what I did to accomplish these results, not only for myself, but also for my clients. And the lean build standard will let you put on quality muscle mass while also becoming more shredded, optimizing your hormones and testosterone, and understanding how to properly structure your diet and your training. So there's three pillars to the lean build standard. Number one, developing an elite mindset. This includes rewiring your brain and your standards to align with the best version of yourself, and also building unstoppable discipline through actions on a daily basis. Number two is the nutrition and training blueprint. This will include eating a nutrient-dense diet, thinking of food as fuel, and also lifting to build an aesthetic physique. Finally, we're going to focus on the highest leverage habits, optimizing sleep, understanding that nature is the best supplement, and implementing a daily routine that will get you exactly where you want to go. Now, I'm going to show you how I optimized each stage of the system so that you can take your physique and your mindset to the next level. So, number one, developing an elite mindset. You need to rewire your brain and your standards to align with the best, highest version of yourself. So, I used to waste so much time watching Netflix and YouTube. I would stay up every single night, either watching Netflix or watching Instagram Reels on my phone. As a result, I would sleep in and I'd wake up late, would have no energy, miss class, and just procrastinate work because I had very little motivation. And I was doing all this stuff, fully aware that I was falling short of who I wanted to be. I would wait till the last second, the night before, to write an entire paper. I would show up to class, 80% of the time, but way less than I should have been. I was doing worse on tests than I know I should have been because I was falling short of my potential. And even though I knew this, even though I identified this, it was so hard to break out of this cycle. I was honestly trapped because I was so addicted to this cheap instant dopamine you get from Netflix, you get from Instagram Reels, you get from staying up late at night. I just didn't know how to break out of this cycle. I also had a really bad relationship with food from wrestling. As I told you guys, I would binge eat these boring, nutritionless, low calorie meals, chicken and rice, whatever, low calorie snacks I could buy that just tasted horrible, protein bars, and then I would just binge eat and feel horrible. I also knew, to be the best version of myself on the wrestling mat and also off of it, I could not be living like this. I knew that there was something better. I knew that there was a better version of myself, better version of Shaylin Savor that had better habits, and I just needed to become that person. So I made the decision that every single action I did should have me feel, look, and function the best. Now, obviously, I cared a lot about looking the best, but more than anything, I cared about feeling and functioning the best because I had been through the process of wrestling, and I knew even though you can get down to weight and be where I wanted to be physically, what matters more is how you actually operate. And when I would get down to a super low weight for wrestling and have horrible methods to get there and perform really badly, I knew that wasn't important. So feeling and functioning were equally as important as looking good. And I didn't care about the time frame or the end result of all of this. The only thing I focused on was the process. I didn't know how long it would take me. All I knew is that I was committed. I was willing to do whatever it took because I was just so fed up with the person I was. I was so fed up with looking in the mirror and knowing that I was wasting my potential. I remember after the last tournament of my sophomore year wrestling, which is before I implemented this method, I fell so short of a goal that I had worked so hard for. And I had made all these excuses in my mind about, I'm cutting weight. I was feeling bad for myself. I lost the match I shouldn't have, all this stuff. And I remember just going in the bathroom after that night and looking in the mirror and knowing that, man, I was so close and I'd put the time in, but I was just not operating at the level I should have. And my potential was so much higher. And I was genuinely just so disappointed in myself. I knew that there was something missing. I knew that I wasn't where I wanted to be and that something genuinely had to change. So I began building discipline through actions. And I just decided to make the decision to go all in because when you have one foot in the door and one foot out the door, it is very easy to make an excuse and to kind of stop doing what you're supposed to do. And I knew myself, there was a very good chance I would just take the easy way out. And I needed to make it so that that was not an option. I had to go all in. So I was like, I'm doing this. Whatever I have to do. I wrote down everything that I had to get done. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to follow this method and see where it takes me. So one of the first things I did was just cutting out all the processed food from my diet because one of the worst cycles I got stuck in was just eating a bunch of really garbage food, which made me feel really tired, really sleepy, make me not want to go to class, and then just have really low energy and not operate like the best version of myself. Cutting out all the processed food and just focusing on whole foods, that was the first step. The second thing was just to wake up really early and watch the sunrise. Now, I knew there were a lot of benefits to watching the sunrise in terms of circadian rhythm, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. But the biggest thing was that I was just so lazy in the past. I would always sleep in because I would stay up really late at night. So by waking up to watch the sunrise every single day, I did this for a very long period of time. It just made it so that I had to hold myself accountable. I couldn't stay up really late when I had to wake up at 6:30 to watch the sunrise. And by doing this and just making sure I did it every single day without missing, man, it really transformed myself. And I'd always made promises to myself in the past of little things like, oh, I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. tomorrow and work out, or whatever promises I made. but I would always fall short of them. And it really sucks when you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, because you don't look at yourself the same way when you do that. So me telling myself, all right, you're going to wake up at 6:30 tomorrow, go outside and go for a walk. And then me actually doing that and following the plan, I was like, whoa, wow, I am truly a different person. I truly believe in everything that I'm saying. And journaling at night too was also something that helped me so much, because it helped me keep myself accountable. I would write down all the tasks that I wanted to get done, everything I wanted to do. And then I would reflect every single night about whether I actually did it. I would reflect about the person I was becoming, whether or not I was on the right path to be the man that I wanted to be. And journaling really helped me put all my thoughts, all my beliefs, everything that I wanted and inspired to be, just put the pen to paper and really have it all out. And going back and reading my journal is something that I really want to do, just to see this transformation and kind of relive it again. And so all these habits, no processed food, waking up early, journaling, they might seem small, but they really compound over time. And when you're doing all this stuff together, it is a recipe for a transformation. And doing all this stuff for an extended period of time, man, everything changed. I truly believed in everything I was doing, and it all paid off. I became a different person in the process. Next, we're going to talk about nutrition and training, and how this blueprint that I followed really transformed my physique. Starting out, eating a nutrient-dense diet. So as I've told you guys, I only knew intense dieting, starvation, and binging. I felt horrible, and I knew I needed a better system to stay lean and feel good. The biggest thing I was following was, calories in, calories out, and macros, because that's what I thought about. Oh, okay, chicken and rice and lettuce. This fits my calorie goal. This fits my macro goal. This is what I'm going to eat. But it sucked. It really felt like I was starving myself, and the cravings were too much. So I knew I needed to create a new system. I started researching the best foods that I could be having, the healthiest foods that a lot of the top dogs were eating, especially in the wrestling game. And beef, eggs, and fruit were kind of what I finalized. So I started eating beef, eggs, and fruit every single day. As a result, I got noticeably leaner, which is what I wanted. But I also got more muscular, which wasn't something that I was planning on happening, because I wasn't even lifting weights extremely hard. But as a result of this and eating these foods, I just started to put on muscle. And I knew that something was working, because I came back to school after the summer and I was getting all these compliments like, wow, man, like, what are you doing? Like, are you taking steroids? Like, all these people, like teammates, just people on campus, I was actually getting compliments for the first time. And I was like, wow, whatever I'm doing, it must be right. So I just really doubled down on this method and went all in again. I was so set on eliminating the majority of processed foods and just focusing on the nutrient-dense real foods. Like, you can see in this picture here, the amazing meals I was eating: steak, eggs, avocado. It didn't feel like I was doing anything crazy, because I genuinely enjoyed everything, but it was really paying off. I was following the 90-10 rule as well, which means that 90% of the time I was doing this stuff, which left a little bit of room for error, that 10%. And I tried to make it so that even in that 10%, I was still being very intentional. So that 10% wasn't me going and getting Five Guys or going and eating McDonald's. Like, no, I was completely done with that stuff. That 10% would be going out and getting a nice meal with my family. It would be going and getting ice cream with my friends, little things like that. I was so focused on what I wanted that even that 10%, it was like, some of the times I didn't want to do it, but it was just one of those things where it was, okay, I've been putting in the work. I've been working really hard. It's all right to go and get some ice cream. It's not going to kill me. But as a result of this overall method, I didn't have to think about calories. I didn't have to restrict myself. I could just eat the foods that I actually wanted, and I was getting really good results because of it. As a result, my testosterone went through the roof. My hormone health was really good, and I was able to gain 45 pounds of lean mass while getting more shredded in the process. You can see me here. Difference between 125 pounds and 165 pounds. And I looked like a totally different man. And the biggest change I made was thinking of food as fuel rather than calories. Now, I always thought of food simply as just calories in, calories out, and that was how I was going to hit my goal. But when I began to think of food as real nutrients and fuel, my physique dramatically changed. There were a couple rules that I followed. These are like the staples of what I was doing. Number 1 gram of animal-based protein per pound of goal body weight. Now, this could be from foods like beef, eggs, dairy like yogurt, milk, cheese, chicken, fish. These were the foods that I really focused my diet on. And so you can see down here, like a nice fat ribeye, a bunch of eggs, these are the foods I was eating on on a daily basis. And I quickly realized that animal based protein from real actual foods was way more beneficial than protein bars, protein shakes, all that nonsense, which I always thought was the actual key to building muscle. But when I when I want to drink a protein shake every single day or have protein bars, I wouldn't gain any muscle from it. In fact, it was just making my skin look bad and really hurting my stomach. So understanding that this is the proper protein source is was really big for gaining muscle. As for fat, I got most of my fat from the actual food I was eating. So ribeye has a lot of fat, eggs have a lot of fat. These are my main sources of fat, some avocado. And I also use fat to cook. So I would use things like butter, olive oil. These are the fats I was eating for the majority of my diet. As for carbs, my carbs were centered around activity. So if I was wrestling, if I was doing a more cardiovascular workout, I could increase my carbs a little bit. But my main rule was not limiting the amount of carbs I was having. I was kind of trusting my body and eating intuitively. The biggest thing was just getting my carb sources from clean food. So fruit, honey, maple syrup. Those are the three staples I had. I love those foods. Those are some of my favorite foods. I eat them every single day. I love fruit. I love honey. I love maple syrup. Rice and potatoes were another thing I added on a little bit later. Sweet potatoes specifically. These are great. These are really clean carb sources, and you can tailor these around your diet. I began to understand that macronutrients determine how you look, but micronutrients really determine how you feel. And when you focus on both these things in combination, you kind of create an unstoppable force because you look good, but you also feel good. I mean, how many bodybuilders, how many people look really good, but they feel horrible? I know so many of my teammates looked really good when they would get down to weight, but they felt like death. They felt horrible. They were grumpy. They were, not eating enough. They were starving themselves. But when you focus on macros and you also focus on micros and you begin to feel really good, you begin to optimize your hormones, that's when I realized, oh, I am a dangerous being. And the body recomp kind of happened from there. While I was gaining muscle, I was getting leaner in the process, which was really shocking to me because I didn't know that was a thing. I thought the only way to get bigger was to bulk, was to eat whatever you want to, do a dirty bulk, which I tried doing once in college, and I gained some fat from it, a little bit of muscle, but mainly fat. I thought that was the only method. I didn't realize that you could actually gain muscle while getting leaner in the process, but I quickly realized when you eat foods like this, that's what happens. And through this process, by really eating these foods for a long period of time, I began to realize that this is more than just a diet. This is a lifestyle. Like, I stopped eating foods that didn't align with this because I thought about it, and every single time I ate something, I was either helping to contribute to my goals or I was working against it. And it became all encompassing to the point where this is now my lifestyle. I'm going to eat like this for the rest of my life. And I never have to count calories. I never have to count macros. I never need to starve myself. I can stay extremely lean while just eating and focusing on nutrient dense foods and really trying to pursue the best version of myself. And while I was focusing on nutrition, I also began to lift for an aesthetic physique. And this was really big for me because I never lifted weights growing up. Like, I came into college 125 pounds skinny, no muscle, and I had barely lifted at all. In high school, we did a couple, workouts with like a 25-pound plate, but that was it. I was never big into lifting. So when I got to college and so many of my teammates were so experienced in the gym, super big and strong, I was really scared. I would find every excuse to not lift. I would go on the bike or hop on the elliptical, do whatever I could to not lift weights because I was really nervous. I mean, I didn't want to look like a fool. I had no idea what I was doing. My technique was horrible. I was just very, very nervous and very scared because I was so skinny. And through college wrestling, I had 2 shoulder surgeries, both injuries from, actual competitions, left shoulder and right shoulder. These things set me back big time, both on the wrestling mat, but just overall in my life. These were, big setbacks for me. But I realized that I was getting hurt because I actually didn't have much muscle protecting my joints. My shoulders were fragile because I wasn't training them. I was wrestling, yes, but I needed to be lifting weights to actually strengthen my tendons, strengthen my joints. So I started focusing on bodyweight movements because those were movements that I always enjoyed. I like doing push-ups. I like doing pull-ups. So I started really doing this stuff, and I was literally spamming it. And there was one day I fully did 1,000 push-ups in one day just because I love push-ups so much. I was doing so many pull-ups, and I started to see some real results. It was the first time in my life that I really started to build muscle. I saw a little bit of confidence boost. I saw the veins on my arms, and I really enjoyed this feeling. And I began to realize, like, wow, lifting weights, not even lifting weights, just doing strength training and getting a pump is a really good feeling. And man, I really enjoy this. I enjoyed how I felt because of it. So as a result, I started to transition into weighted calisthenics. Pretty much just means like doing regular movements like pull-ups and dips, except putting on a belt and adding weight to it. And this is a really good way to progressively overload. So I started following this progressive overload system where I slowly increased my weights week after week after week. So every single week I was either increasing my weight or increasing my reps, but overall I was getting really stronger. And this has allowed me to get really strong to the point where I can do 8 pull-ups with 75 pounds attached, and I can do 8 dips with 115 pounds attached. So I've gotten really strong just by following the same progressive overload system. And I've done this while also pairing it with weights. So now I do a little bit of weights as well. I'll do bicep curls. I'll do some accessory stuff. And I found a really good balance. And through this, I've gotten very muscular and very strong in not a lot of time. And I only work out 3 times a week. I discovered this 3-day intense routine that I think is way better than a 5-day split or a 6-day split, because your muscles grow when they're recovering. All these people that are doing 6 workouts a week, that are all lifting, your muscles never have any time to recover. You're constantly a little bit sore, which means you're never at 100%, which means you can never put up as much weight as if you were at 100%. Whereas me, I work out 3 times a week. Every time I go to the gym, I'm well rested. I'm ready. I'm excited to go and hit another PR. And yeah, it just helps me grow and grow and grow and keep getting better. So truly, I feel like I've discovered the perfect balance with this routine, and it's what I plan on, doing for a long, long time. And next, we're going to focus on some of the highest leverage habits that you can develop and how these habits really transform my life. So the biggest thing is implementing a daily routine. Daily routine adds structure and intention to every single one of your days. And for me, it was very difficult to be lazy. It was very difficult to slack off when I had a routine in place. When you have these non-negotiable tasks that have to get done, no matter what, I always found that I was doing this stuff as opposed to watching Netflix or just laying around. So I'm going to walk you guys through the routine that truly transformed my life. I would start every single day going for a 20-minute walk to watch the sunrise before checking my phone. So every night I slept with my phone on airplane mode. I'd wake up, I would not check my phone. The first thing I would do was go outside, get sun directly into my eyes to optimize my circadian rhythm. I will explain that later. And then go for a 20-minute walk. And I truly loved movement. I truly loved doing a little bit of light exercise and just getting sunlight in the morning. I felt really good. 10 to 12K steps a day outside was also a very big habit for me. Number one, getting outside, getting in the sun. Vitamin D is pro-hormone, so helps you get more jacked. But also, walking is a really great form of getting shredded. You might not think that walking does that much, but when you're constantly getting these steps in and burning calories, they really add up over time. So there were days I was getting 20 to 25K steps because I just loved going outside and walking. It was really perfect for me because no matter what I was doing, I could just put my phone on airplane mode. Most of the time, I didn't need music. I didn't need a podcast. I could just go for a long walk, sit with my thoughts, or invite somebody to go with me. And a lot of the times I'd hang out with my friends. We'd just go for a walk outside. And, it was truly an enjoyable process. It was a great way to have conversations. Getting addicted to walking helped me get even more shredded. Swapping out Netflix for books and reading 30 minutes a day was also huge for me, just by really making sure I was spending my time in a good way, becoming more intelligent, and just making sure I was still focused on my personal development. That was great. I would cut out caffeine 10 hours before bed. Caffeine stays in your bloodstream for 10 hours. So, in the past, I used to have energy drinks right before practice at 4 o'clock, and that would always kill my sleep. So by having my coffee in the morning, stopping in the afternoon, I was sleeping way better. And then I will talk about sleep more, but going to sleep before 11 p.m. and wearing my blue light blockers while I journaled was great for improving sleep. Now, to optimize sleep, you need to be having 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. One of the best ways to do this is by optimizing your circadian rhythm, blocking out blue light, avoiding your phone late at night. The blue light on your phone is going to hurt your body's ability to produce melatonin, which is going to hurt your sleep. And another great way to optimize your circadian rhythm is by waking up and watching the sunrise and then getting sun throughout the day in increments. So morning, afternoon, and sunset. You can also supplement with magnesium glycinate. That is the number one supplement to improve your sleep. So I used to have that every single night with a little bit of tart cherry juice, which is also good for recovery. I also noticed that just by really being productive through the day and using my energy right, I was super tired at night, and going to sleep was kind of effortless. I used to fall asleep right away. And as I mentioned before, having mandatory rest days, letting your muscles grow, that's the best way to really see results. And I used to schedule these active recovery days where just go to the sauna, go for a long extended walk, and do some light stretching. And I felt really good doing this. And also, I realized that nature is the best supplement. So, sunlight and vitamin D increase testosterone. I spent one entire spring recovering from my surgery, literally just sitting outside in my backyard shirtless. And I got super jacked just from doing that because my vitamin D was literally so high. Going for long hikes is a great solution to this too, because you get the vitamin D while also walking on an incline, which is really great for burning fat. You pair this with a little bit of grounding, which is just touching the ground with your bare feet, becoming more connected to nature. You're going to feel really good. I've already talked about whole foods a good bit, and essentially, if nature didn't make it, don't take it. Nature gives you all the food you need. These foods are going to keep you satiated, improve your gut, improve your skin, and also get you shredded in the process. So, whole foods, number one food to eat. Overall, just being outside greatly improves your quality of life, reduces stress, and is a massive energy boost. And as a result of all these things I was doing, I began to actually reap the benefits, and I truly developed into a new person. I mean, you have a dangerous level of control over your own mind once you conquer your own thoughts. Once I began to tell myself that I was going to do something and actually do it and actually follow through, I realized that I was a dangerous man because I could truly do anything that I put my mind to. And I began to walk around with a new level of confidence. I was just so proud of everything I was doing, of everything that I'd accomplished, and the person I was trying to be, that everything was effortless. Talking to new people was effortless because we could always talk about self-development, and I always had my story that I was so proud of. I also began to gain respect from other people and interest from others. I mean, it's way easier to get a girlfriend when you take good care of yourself, when you have a great physique, when you are truly intelligent and take the time to sharpen your mind and develop good habits. Every single aspect of your life will improve, and relationships are definitely one of them. With friends, with girls, all the above. And finally, I noticed that the clothes I would wear would instantly look better because I was just super jacked and I could fill them out. Didn't matter if it was a expensive sweater or a $5 shirt. No matter what I was wearing, I noticed I was getting compliments because all my clothes were just filled out very well by my muscles. And walking around feeling good also just increased my confidence greatly. Now, I was hardly ever satisfied with the person looking back at me in the mirror. But the second I found a long-term approach that gave me the results I wanted and skyrocketed my confidence, everything changed. So if you're tired of doubting yourself and knowing that you're wasting your potential, the Lean Build Standard will give you everything you need to achieve your goal. If you have the discipline to show up, you will make great strides. Here are some testimonials from some of my clients that have been thriving on the Lean Build Standard. My boy Kyle, he gained 11 pounds of muscle while getting leaner in the process. My boy Sean dropped 15 pounds of fat while also gaining muscle. He went from skinny fat to looking pretty good. Still a long way to go. And my boy Daniel got super shredded. I mean, look at this guy. He looks like an entirely new man. And he did this while not counting calories, just focusing on whole foods, trusting the process, and being very dialed. Now that you understand exactly how this process works, I have an offer for you. So if you're a motivated individual, you're willing to put in hard work, and you're not afraid to face discomfort, and you are ready to turn your body into a fat-burning, muscle-building machine while achieving the great physique and mindset that you've always wanted, I have an offer for you. If you're looking to gain lean muscle mass while improving your hormone health and forging an unbreakable mindset using the Lean Build Standard, all while maintaining a busy schedule, I want to work with you. If you believe that this system can help you and you're a motivated person that knows that they will put the hard work in to get the results, I would love to help you achieve your goal. So I have a Calendly link in the description. You can book a one-on-one call with me, and we can talk about your situation, talk about if it will actually help. Now, I'm not going to work with everybody. I need to see a little bit of myself inside of you. So if we talk and I don't think that you have the discipline to get this done, I'm probably not going to work with you. I want to work with disciplined men that I know will actually benefit from this, that I know will put the hard work in to have a great result. So if you really want to level up your physique, level up your mindset, and just transform into the best version of yourself, click the Calendly link and we'll see if this program is a good fit for you.